I'm craving band candy. Like and subscribe. And drop us a line. It's the end, but the moment has been prepared for. Doctor Who, a show beloved across generations. Adventure, fantasy, science fiction. But beneath its family-friendly veneer, lurking in the shadows of alien worlds and Victorian fog, there lies something much darker. Something that terrified entire generations of children. For over 6 decades, Doctor Who has hid true horror behind a blue police box. Tonight, to honor 62 years of Doctor Who, we travel back to the classic era to uncover 26 scariest episodes ever made. Stories that just didn't entertain. They traumatized young viewers, haunted their dreams, and shaped British television horror forever. So welcome to part 1. Tonight we explore 9 episodes that defined terror in classic Who, the ones that changed what children's television could be, from body horror to psychological breakdowns. Let's begin. At number 1, Spearhead from Space, 1970, the third Doctor era. Jon Pertwee's debut, the first Doctor Who entirely shot on film, and with it came realism that felt too real. Autons, plastic mannequins that suddenly move, slowly turning towards you. Kids were terrified to walk past store windows for years after that one. The episode's cold cinematography gave it a documentary feel, like this wasn't science fiction. It was actually really happening. Even the Doctor's regeneration felt unsettling. The strange stranger waking up in a hospital, silent, observant. It transformed Doctor Who into quasi-horror, and the Autons became iconic nightmare fuel. What makes this episode so scary? Uncanny Valley, body possession, mannequins bursting through shop front glass, alien threat hiding in plain sight. Legend says mannequins in British shops were removed after that episode aired. Whether that's true or not, still a bit terrifying, isn't it? And number 2, The Talons of Wing Chang, 1977, the fourth Doctor era. Victorian London, fog-filled alleys, theater mask, a deformed time traveler, and a deadly ventriloquist dummy. The story is basically Hammer horror, starring Tom Baker. The villain, Magnus Grell, is grotesque and disfigured, living in the shadows, draining life essences to prolong his existence. And his sidekick, the sinister Mr. Sin, a ventriloquist doll brought to life. It's pure nightmare. Creepy doll, Victorian gaslit horror, sewer rats, murder in the alleys. It's Jack the Ripper meets Phantom of the Opera, with a Time Lord casually navigating the terror. What makes this episode so scary? Fear of the other and depraved obsession. A scientific experiment gone horribly wrong. Its legacy? It inspired the X-Files, even referenced in later Doctor Who stories. The dummy character went on to influence horror writers, including references in Goosebumps by R.L. Stine. This story made Doctor Who feel cinematic, dirty, dangerous, like stepping into a cursed penny dreadful. At number 3, Kinda, 1982, the fifth Doctor's era. A psychological horror masterpiece inspired by The Exorcist and Jungian philosophy. The mare isn't a monster you see, it's a concept, a serpent of the subconscious that weaponizes fear. It possesses Tegan, leading to one of the most chilling possession scenes in Doctor Who history. Unlike many episodes, Kinda's threat is internal. It's about losing control of your own mind. For a series known for monsters, this was far more disturbing. Critics call it Doctor Who does Lynchian surrealism. What makes this episode so scary? Unlike other episodes, the creature is invisible, an entity of the subconscious. Keegan's possession sequence is haunting, with a dreamlike dread reminiscent of The Exorcist. Focuses on the fragility of the human mind and fear from within. Its themes and impact, a psychological study on repression, colonialism, and mental instability. Tackled serious mental health issues and surreal horror years before it was acceptable on television. Further, its influence. Modern Doctor Who's Midnight, the 10th Doctor, of course, David Tennant, borrows heavily from Kinda's concept. One of Peter Davison's best, and it comes highly recommended. At number 4, Tomb of the Cybermen, 1967, the second Doctor's era. A descent into an alien crypt. This episode is basically Doctor Who's The Mummy mixed with body horror. Frozen Cybermen awakening like corpses in a crypt, their hands rising from tombs. The image became iconic. What makes it terrifying isn't action, it's silence, stillness, then movement. And then there's the cyber controller, towering, emotionless, speaking with that metallic rasp. Children reportedly hid behind sofas when that scene aired, and many never forgot it. What makes this episode so scary? Alien tombs evoke ancient Egyptian mummy horror in space. The Cybermen slowly rising from ice tombs is still one of the most unforgettable moments ever. Its themes and its legacy. Focus on loss of emotion, the ultimate dehumanization. Monstrous resurrection parallels fears of the undead, and the cyber controller. Chilling, mechanistic. As far as its impact, it defined the Cybermen as icons, iconic villains of Doctor Who. It even influenced body horror depictions in later science fiction, most namely Star Trek with the Borg. Frequently listed in polls as one of the scariest classic Doctor Who moments of all time. At number 5, The Brain of Morbius, 1976, the 4th Doctor era. The Talons of Wing Chang was Doctor Who's hammer horror detective story. Then The Brain of Morbius is its full-blown Frankenstein nightmare. Set on the storm-racked planet Karn, the Doctor finds a deranged scientist named Mahendri Salon, who is assembling a new body using parts from executed criminals. And his final goal is to transplant the brain of Morbius, an ancient tyrannical Time Lord dictator. What makes this episode so scary? Well, human body parts stitched together. Pretty scary if you ask me. A decayed Time Lord reduced to a disembodied brain in a jar. Lightning-powered reanimation scene, straight out of Frankenstein. In Morbius's final form, twitching, disfigured, and howling with rage. This one was considered controversial, even by 70 standards. Critics accused the BBC of corrupting kids with ghastly imagery. And honestly, they kind of had a point. Its themes, and of course its impact. Ethical horror, of course. Should life ever be resurrected? The age-old question since, of course, Frankenstein and the Modern Prometheus by Mary Shelley. Fear of decay and loss of identity. Morbius representing corrupted power. What happens when a Time Lord refuses to die? And of course, Solon is the classic mad genius, obsessed with creation at any cost. Its impact, of course, widely regarded as Tom Baker's darkest horror episode. Inspired later episodes featuring the Sisterhood of Korn, even including the War Doctor's regeneration. In the Morbius mind duel, where it shows plenty other incarnations of the Doctor, still sparks debate today. Just don't mention the Timeless Child. This is Doctor Who at its most gothic. Storm clouds, severed limbs, a mad scientist, and a roaring creature. stitched from corpses. Mary Shelley would have approved. At number 6, The Daleks, 1963. The first ever Dalek story. The first Doctor era. The one that started it all. Kids in the 60s had never seen anything like the Daleks. Cold, mechanical, and merciless. They were non-negotiable. They exterminated. And what made this debut chilling was how slowly it unfolded. A mechanical tank, creeping, approaching, getting closer. The monotone voice and the realization there's no empathy here. In an era recovering from war, the Daleks resonated like living embodiments of fascism. It terrified viewers because it felt strangely familiar. What makes this episode so scary? It was the very first Dalek appearance. Slow reveal, creating intense dread, and a complete absence of humanity. The children saw them as unstoppable death machines. The impact and legacy? This one had probably the largest impact of them all. The Daleks became a cultural phenomenon, launching Doctor Who into mainstream consciousness forever. Their fear factor shaped science fiction villains for generations to come. At number 7, The Happiness Patrol, 1988, the 7th Doctor's era. Perhaps the most bizarre horror on this list, a world where sadness is illegal, and those who display it are executed by a demonic clown made of living candy. Sounds silly. Think again. The Candyman is one of the most horrifying designs ever seen on the show. Like Willy Wonka crossed with a serial killer. And beneath the surrealism lies a terrifying allegory on state oppression. The tone feels like a nightmarish sugar plum strawberry swirl hellscape. Something David Lynch would have made if he watched way too much Sesame Street. What makes this episode so scary? It looks silly, but underneath, chilling. Because forced happiness is a horror concept decades ahead of its time. And let's not forget the Candyman, who's nothing more than a sugar-coated Hannibal Lecter. Its impact? Still one of the most discussed episodes of Doctor Who. A satire on Thatcherism, now viewed as psychological horror, with themes of tyranny, emotional repression, and absurdism. And let's not forget the 7th Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, began his darker approach to the Doctor. That's when things really got interesting. It's a nightmare dressed as children's TV, but feels more like an episode of Black Mirror. And number 8, The Horror of Fang Rock, 1977, the 4th Doctor's era. What starts out like a traditional M.R. James Victorian ghost story slowly becomes an eerie H.P. Lovecraftian cosmic horror. Tom Baker, along with his companion Leela, played by the beautiful Louise Jameson, are both at their best in this classic Doctor Who base under siege story, or should I say in this case, lighthouse under siege. Many have compared this one to John Carpenter's The Thing, with shades of Agatha Christie's 10 Little Indians, as they are all trapped inside, and someone or something is out there in the mist, the fog, waiting. What makes this episode so scary? Well, simple. Almost everybody dies, which was unheard of in the medium of 70s television at the time. Yes, this one has a rather substantial body count. Claustrophobic, isolated, with no way to escape. This is white-knuckle terror at its most unsettling. Impact and legacy? Well, this is a true behind-the-sofa episode. One of the scariest, but also one of the best. You'll always find this one in everyone's top 10 best episode list of Doctor Who, including myself. It's a really great one. It's a go-to for me. Anytime I'm having a Doctor Who watch-a-thon, I make sure to check this one off, because it's great. This is definitely must-watch TV. And number 9, The K's of Androzani, 1984, the Fifth Doctor's era. Peter Davison saved his best for last, because this is quite the swan song, widely regarded as the greatest Doctor Who story ever in the classic era. It's definitely one of the darkest. This isn't cosmic horror. This is human horror. Corruption, warfare, drug trafficking. The most horrifying of all was watching the Doctor willingly walk into death to save someone. Is this death, he asked. And yes, it is death. The Fifth Doctor's slow deterioration from the Spectrox poisoning is chilling, sweaty, hallucinating, barely able to stand. His regeneration wasn't triumphant. It was desperation. He sacrificed himself, and that's far more horrific than any monster. What makes this episode so scary? Well, there's no alien invasion, just brutality, addiction, and war profiteering. The eventual sacrifice is emotionally horrifying. The themes and impact, moral corruption, exploitation, and death isn't always a hero's epic chapter. Sometimes it's the most tragic. Impact and legacy. Once again, widely considered the greatest classic Doctor Who story ever made. Inspired many different Doctor Who stories, such as The End of Time and Twice Upon a Time. Demonstrated that horror can be human, not monstrous. There's nothing more terrifying than watching a hero die slowly, choosing to do so. Well, there you have it for the first 9. These episodes didn't just scare people. They rewrote what television could do, blending science fiction, fantasy, and horror in groundbreaking ways. So there we have it. Ventriloquist doll killers? Check. Psychological possession? Check. Sorrow outlawed? Check. Humanity stripped away? Check. Just another day at the office for the Doctor. Thank you for joining me. This has been a lot of fun. I hope you're enjoying it. Drop us a line, give us a comment, like and subscribe if you're enjoying this content. And wherever you may be, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good riddance.